What up, YouTube? This is DavidLeeT back again with a new video. And today I wanted to take a look at my Marvel and DC video game collection. Yeah, I know my DC video game collection is like pitiful compared to my Marvel collection. But I'm building it slowly but surely. Anyways, we'll do DC first, since I don't have that much. First one I got is Justice League Task Force for the Sega Genesis. This is basically Mortal Kombat with nothing but Justice League characters. And actually Green Arrow is in it. Wow. That's like the only game ever. The next one is Batman Forever for the Sega Genesis. Next is Justice League Task Force for the Super Nintendo. It's basically the same as the Genesis, but way easier. Next is Batman Returns. Very fun beat 'em up for the Super Nintendo. Great Konami game. Next is Batman, the video game for the NES. Very underrated, very, very fun game. Highly recommend it. Next is Batman Returns for the Sega Genesis. It's basically the same as the Super Nintendo one. Pretty fun. Next is Batman Dark Tomorrow for the GameCube. Very, very underrated game. No one ever talks about this one. There we go. Really cool. Next is Teen Titans THQ title. They're the guys that brought you all those awesome wrestling games on the 64. Yeah, Teen Titans. This was a cool cartoon back in the day. And last is Aquaman for the Xbox. Yeah, they actually made an Aquaman game. It's pretty bad, but it's not as bad as everybody says it is. But if you're a comic fan, I recommend getting it. But other than that, nah. Pretty crusty. But yeah, it ain't that bad. But that's my DC comic, or DC video game collection. Now on to Marvel. First one is X-Men for the Game Gear. It's pretty fun. It's not that bad. Next is X-Men for the Sega Genesis. Really loved this game when I was a kid. Next is X-Men 2 for the Sega Genesis. Way better than the first one in my opinion. Kicks ass. Just can never beat Apocalypse. Really, really cool game though. Highly recommended. Next is Captain America and the Avengers. Really cool game. I think this is the best port out of the Super Nintendo, NES, and Genesis. Hands down, best port in my opinion. Really fun beat 'em up. Next is X-Men Mutant Apocalypse by Capcom for Super Nintendo. Really, really, really underrated game. Really fun. Captain America and the Avengers for Super. Wolverine's Adamantium Rage. Pretty cool. I got it for $1, or like $1.50. Next is Separation Anxiety. For you Maximum Carnage video game fans, this is the sequel to Maximum Carnage. And it's better in my opinion. It's 2 players. So yeah, pretty cool. The first one's only 1 player. But you can be Venom and Spider-Man. It's a beat 'em up as well. Next is Maximum Carnage. Like I just spoke of. Really cool red cartridge. Everyone knows of this game. Badassness. Next is Spider-Man X-Men Arcade Revenge. Really epic cover. but the game sucks. I mean, it's okay, but it kind of sucks in my opinion. Marvel Superheroes and War of the Gems. Really, really, really awesome game. It's got like 1,000 different Marvel characters in it. Really cool all-star team to pick from. Great list of characters to pick from. Very, very, very highly recommended to any comic fan that likes video games. Really awesome. One of my favorite Super Nintendo games. And Captain America and the Avengers for NES. This one's a lot different than Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. This one's more platformish, and you can only play as Hawkeye and Captain America. But very, very good, just very, very difficult. Next is The Punisher for the NES. Really fun shooter. A little repetitive, but really fun. Next is X-Man for the NES. It's from the Power Play series and the dreaded LJN. That's okay. Really cool cover though. Like that classic look. Next is Wolverine for the NES. Really cool game. And it has a mega battle with arch nemesis Sabretooth. But really awesome. It's not that great, but it's cool because it's Wolverine. And one of the hardest games ever, Silver Surfer. I can last about 30 seconds in this game. Sometimes 60 on a good day, but hard as hell. Maximum Carnage for the Genesis. Pretty awesome. All kinds of cool characters in this game, as you can see. Villains. Lots of great villains. About everything's been said about this game. I can't say much more. Awesomeness. One of the greatest fighting games in my opinion. Marvel Superheroes for the PlayStation 1. You can play as Iron Man, Hulk, Psylocke, Wolverine, Captain America, Spider-Man, Magneto, Juggernaut, Blackheart, a lot of dudes. A lot of badass characters to pick from. A lot of great moves, controls are spot on. Great graphics, very highly recommended. If you can get your hands on it for cheap. Kind of goes for a pretty penny now. This spawned Marvel Superheroes, X-Men, Children of the Atom, #1 arcade smash. This is just epicness on a disc. If you're a fan of fighting games like Street Fighter and you like the X-Men, I couldn't recommend a better game for you. Just awesomeness. The very highly respected, highly known Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of the Superheroes. Can't say too much about this game. That it's just bad fucking ass. You'll really love this game if you like fighting games. My favorite fighting game series of all time. Awesome. Next is Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. If you thought the first one was good, this one blows that one clean out of the water. It's got over 60 characters to choose from. Spot on controls. Great graphics. The soundtrack could be better, but overall I'll give this a 9 out of 10. Just badassness on a disc. Very highly recommended. Can't stress that enough. And I got the third one, but one of my friends is borrowing it. So next one is X-Men Next Dimension for the GameCube. This is also a fighting game. People never talk about this game. This is a really cool game. Very fun. As you can see, it's a fighter. Cyclops ponying Jean Grey, it looks like. But yeah, there's like 30 X-Men characters to choose from. One of the funnest fighters on the GameCube, in my opinion. Next is Ultimate Spider-Man. This is just like the comic book, even the style of graphics. Very cool. Fantastic Four for the PS2. It's okay, not that great. X-Men 3, the official game. Pretty cool, little repetitive, but fun nonetheless. If you like X-Men, you'll like this game. Or if you like the movies of X-Men. Excuse me. Next is X-Men Legends. This is a really cool RPG. Really fun. Like hundreds of X-Men characters to pick from. Very highly recommended. If you're a fan of comics and a fan of RPGs, you'll love this. Next is X-Men 2. X-Men Legends 2, Rise of Apocalypse. This is the sequel to X-Men Legends 1. And this one is a lot better in my opinion. A lot of people say the first one's better. But to DavidLeeT, I gotta go with part 2. You can't beat Apocalypse. I'm sorry. He's a lot cooler than Magneto in my opinion. And a lot more badass. But yeah. Next is Spider-Man Web of Shadows, the Amazing Allies edition for the PS2, Activision title. Fun platformer slash beat 'em up. It's a lot different than the 360 version, but pretty cool nonetheless. Wolverine and Venom make appearances, and a few other heroes. Pretty cool. Next is Spider-Man Friend or Foe for the PS2. Basically, about every major Spider-Man villain teams up with Spider-Man to stop an even more powerful villain. And a few heroes like Black Cat and Iron Fist. But yeah, pretty fun. Next is Spider-Man, the self-titled game for the PS2. This is based off the first movie. Pretty cool. Next is Spider-Man 2, Platinum Hits version for Xbox. Still sealed. Yes, I still have not opened this game. I don't know why. I guess because I want to beat the first one first, and then I'll get to this one. But yeah, and I didn't give $10 for it. This lady had like 3 for $5 deal, and this was one of them that I grabbed. But yeah, pretty cool. And last but certainly not least, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. This has about every major hero from the Marvel Universe. It's an RPG. You can pick between like 30 to 40 different characters. Great story, really fantastic cutscenes, good gameplay, highly recommended. But yeah, that's my Marvel and DC video game collection. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm sorry for the long vid. I tried to speed it along as quickly as possible. But thanks for watching. Be easy.